Listen closely, ladies. If your husband passes away first, there are 5 costly mistakes that can destroy everything you've worked so hard for. And too many widows say yes to these pitfalls without realizing it until it's too late. I don't want that for you. As a financial advisor who's guided hundreds of widows through the toughest transition of their lives, I've seen firsthand how grief can cloud judgment at precisely the moment when clear thinking matters most. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to avoid so you can protect your future, your finances, and your peace of mind. Stay with me, because mistake number 5 is the one most women regret the most. Yet it's surprisingly easy to prevent if you know what to watch for. Before we start, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. And in the comments, tell me what city you're watching from. I'd love to hear your best advice about money or grief as well. Now let's talk about the first mistake that can silently drain your resources when you're most vulnerable. 1. Rushing to sell the house. The first mistake, and it happens so often it breaks my heart, is rushing to sell your home after your husband passes away. I understand completely. When you walk through that front door without him, it feels like a punch to the stomach. Every room carries his memory. His favorite chair where he'd doze off during football games. The spot at the kitchen table where he'd read the morning paper. Maybe even the lingering scent of his aftershave in the master bathroom. It hurts. The house suddenly feels too big, too empty, and far too full of memories you're not quite ready to face. And then, like clockwork, the well-meaning advice starts pouring in. Your adult kids say, "Mom, it's too much house for you now." Your friends suggest, "You don't need the upkeep at your age." They mean well, they truly do. But here's what no one tells you. Selling your home too quickly can cost you far more than you realize. Take Martha from Ohio. After 46 years of marriage, she lost her husband Thomas unexpectedly to a heart attack. Within 3 months, she had listed their 4-bedroom colonial for sale. "I just couldn't bear to be there without him," she told me over coffee. "Every corner reminded me of what I'd lost." Martha sold in what turned out to be a buyer's market, accepting the first decent offer because she wanted out fast. Just 14 months later, property values in her neighborhood had jumped 18%. But the financial loss paled compared to her emotional regret. She had given up the gathering place for family Thanksgivings, the garden Thomas had lovingly tended for decades, and the neighbors who had become like family. "If I had waited just a year," Martha shared with tears in her eyes, "I would have made better decisions. I was operating in a fog of grief and no one told me to slow down." Here's the truth. When grief takes hold, your judgment gets cloudy. Decisions you think are purely practical are actually deeply emotional. And real estate professionals, even the ethical ones, know that motivated sellers rarely get top dollar. According to a recent study by the Financial Planning Association, home sales within the first year of widowhood rank among the top 3 financial regrets reported by widows. The reasons extend beyond money to include lost community connections, family traditions, and the comfort of familiar surroundings once the initial shock of grief subsides. So listen carefully. Don't sell your home in the first year. Give yourself time to breathe, to think clearly. You might find that what you actually needed wasn't to sell, but just to rearrange the furniture, convert his office into your reading room, or create new routines that make the space feel like yours again. If maintaining the property feels overwhelming, consider temporary solutions instead. Hiring help for the lawn and heavy cleaning, asking family to assist with seasonal maintenance, or even renting out a portion of your home for both income and companionship. Remember, you can always sell later, when your decision comes from clarity rather than grief. What's your experience with this? Have you or someone you know faced this difficult choice? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. 2. Trusting the wrong people with your money. The second mistake sneaks up quietly, and by the time you realize what's happening, it's often too late. Trusting the wrong people with your money. When your husband passes, the world around you shifts overnight. Have you noticed how suddenly people you haven't heard from in years start appearing? distant relatives, old friends, and especially financial advisors you never met when your husband was alive. They all show up with the same message: I just want to help. Now, I'm not saying everyone offering assistance has bad intentions. Many relatives and legitimate financial professionals genuinely want to support you. But here's what 35 years in financial planning has taught me. Predators specifically target widows, knowing you're making decisions while emotionally vulnerable. Let me tell you about Eleanor from Colorado. Her husband had handled their finances for 5 decades. He paid every bill, made every investment decision, she told me. Suddenly, I was drowning in paperwork I didn't understand. Within weeks of the funeral, her husband's golf buddy introduced her to an investment specialist who promised to take care of everything just like Frank would have wanted. Eleanor was exhausted from grief and overwhelmed by financial decisions. Having someone offer to handle it all felt like such a relief, she confessed. I signed whatever he put in front of me. 8 months later, Eleanor discovered her retirement savings had been moved into high-commission products that generated substantial fees for the advisor, while creating unexpected tax consequences for her. This happens more often than you might think. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, seniors lose an estimated $3 billion annually to financial exploitation. Recent widows are among the most targeted groups. Why? Because financial predators count on your emotional state, your confusion, exhaustion, and desperate need to make sense of everything. In that vulnerable state, it's too easy to say yes. Yes, you can handle my finances. Yes, I trust you. Yes, take care of it because I just can't deal with one more thing right now. So what should you do instead? First, give yourself permission to delay non-urgent financial decisions. Unless something truly can't wait, give yourself at least 3 to 6 months before making significant changes to investments or selling assets. Second, and this was Eleanor's hard-learned advice, never attend financial meetings alone during that first year. Bring an adult child, trusted friend, or even hire your own financial advisor who works as a fiduciary. What's a fiduciary? It's someone legally obligated to put your interests first. You can verify a financial professional's fiduciary status through the SEC website. Third, get everything in writing and don't sign documents you don't fully understand. I tell my clients, if you can't explain it to your adult daughter or son, don't agree to it. A legitimate financial advisor will never rush you. They understand you're grieving and will help you prioritize what's truly urgent while giving you space to consider everything else. Have you or someone you know experienced financial pressure after losing a spouse? Share your story below. Your experience might help another widow recognize warning signs before it's too late. 3. Taking the pension or insurance payout all at once. Now let's talk about mistake number 3, one that initially feels like a blessing but can become a serious trap. Taking your husband's life insurance or pension payout all at once. When your husband passes, suddenly there's this check with your name on it. Maybe it's $50,000, $100,000, or even $500,000 sitting in your account. For a moment, it feels like relief. Like maybe financially, you'll be okay after all. And then the calls start coming. Have you experienced this? Financial planners you've never heard of, investment opportunities, family members with business ideas, friends who suddenly need loans. Everyone seems to notice that lump sum, and everyone seems to want a piece of it. Dorothy from Virginia shared her experience with me. At 68, she received $275,000 from her husband's life insurance policy. I'd never seen that much money in my account before, she explained. It felt infinite. Within 18 months, over half was gone. Some to home repairs that could have waited, some to helping her adult children with down payments, and some to investments she didn't fully understand. No one warned me that once it was gone, there would be no more coming, she said, her voice heavy with regret. I thought I was being generous and smart, but I was actually spending my future security. This is crucial to understand, that payout isn't a windfall or an inheritance. It's meant to replace years of income and financial security you would have had if your husband had lived. According to a study by the Financial Research Corporation, widows who take lump sum payments typically deplete those funds 3 times faster than those who choose monthly distribution options. Here's something many insurance agents and pension administrators don't emphasize. You often don't have to take it all at once. With many policies and pension plans, you can choose monthly payments for life, which provides steady income you can depend on. Partial lump sum with monthly payments, giving you some cash now while ensuring ongoing income. Annuity options that guarantee income you can't outlive, regardless of how long you live. These alternatives provide steady, predictable income, much like the regular paychecks your husband's earnings once provided. Taking everything at once creates other problems too. It could push you into a higher tax bracket, potentially costing thousands in unnecessary taxes. You might lose eligibility for certain government benefits that are income-based. And perhaps most dangerously, the sudden influx might lead to spending decisions you wouldn't normally make. Janet, a financial planner specializing in widows' finances, recommends this approach. Keep the death benefit in a separate high-yield savings account for at least 6 months. Don't make any decisions about it until the initial fog of grief lifts. Treat it as your future, not as a resource for present wants or others' needs. Remember, once this money is gone, it's gone. There are no do-overs. Have you had to make decisions about lump sum payments? What worked for you? I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. 4. Co-signing loans or giving large gifts out of guilt. Mistake number 4 is particularly heartbreaking because it usually comes from the best of intentions. Co-signing loans or handing out large gifts to family out of guilt or emotional vulnerability. After your husband passes, there's often a strange emotional pressure that sets in. You start questioning everything. Did I do enough for the kids? Will my grandchildren remember how much I love them? Will my family stay close if I'm not financially supporting them? Then, almost like it's following a script, someone comes to you, a son, daughter, or grandchild, with a problem only you can solve. Mom, I just need you to co-sign for this house. It's a great investment. Grandma, my business is about to take off if I can just get a little help. And you, still grieving and emotionally raw, say yes, because you love them, because you want to be needed, because you think it's what your husband would have wanted you to do. Barbara from Florida learned this lesson the hard way. At 71, she co-signed for her grandson's new truck just months after losing her husband of 52 years. Richard always handled these things, she explained, but I wanted to show my grandson I could step up like his grandfather would have. 6 months later, her grandson lost his job and stopped making payments. Barbara, living on a fixed income, suddenly faced 498 monthly payments she couldn't afford. The collection calls were humiliating, she told me. I had to dip into my emergency savings each month. My grandson felt terrible, but feeling bad didn't make the payments. Here's what no one tells you. The moment you co-sign, it becomes fully your debt. If payments stop, lenders don't pursue your family member first. They come straight for you, your credit, your savings, potentially even your home. According to a Federal Reserve study, nearly 38% of co-signed loans for family members end up in default, with the co-signer having to take over payments. For seniors on fixed incomes, this financial shock can be devastating. Large gifts can be equally problematic. I've seen widows drain significant portions of their savings trying to maintain their role as the family's emotional center, thinking financial generosity will keep everyone close. But money doesn't buy family closeness, and once those funds are gone, those same loved ones rarely position themselves to help when you need it. So what should you do when faced with these requests? First, implement a personal 30-day waiting period for any financial request over $1,000. Tell your family you need time to consider, and use that time to consult with a financial advisor about how any gift or loan might impact your long-term security. Second, consider alternatives to outright gifts. Instead of giving cash for a grandchild's education, contribute directly to a 529 college savings plan. Rather than co-signing a loan, explore whether you can help in other ways. Perhaps with a smaller gift toward a larger down payment that eliminates the need for a co-signer. Third, and perhaps most importantly, ask yourself, if my husband were standing right here, what would his advice be? I find that this simple question often brings remarkable clarity in emotional moments. Has anyone asked you to co-sign or give a large gift after your husband passed away? How did you handle it? Your experience might help someone else facing this pressure right now. 5. Not updating legal documents and beneficiaries immediately. Finally, we come to mistake number 5. The one most widows eventually regret most deeply. It's failing to update your legal documents and beneficiaries right away after your husband passes. I know paperwork is the last thing you want to think about when you're grieving. It feels cold, transactional, almost disrespectful when you're still adjusting to life without him. You want time to mourn, not sit in some attorney's office changing names on forms. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't handle these updates promptly, you risk creating serious legal and financial complications that could affect not just you, but everyone you love. Diane from Pennsylvania learned this lesson the hard way. Her husband Robert passed suddenly, and in her grief, she postponed updating her will, power of attorney, and beneficiary designations. "I'll get to it when I'm ready," she told her children whenever they gently brought it up. 18 months later, Diane suffered a stroke. Her outdated power of attorney still listed her deceased husband, leaving her adult children unable to make medical or financial decisions on her behalf. The court had to appoint a guardian, a stranger, to manage her affairs. The worst part, her daughter told me, was that Mom had specific wishes, but legally, we couldn't honor them because the paperwork wasn't in order. The stress and expense of the guardianship process was exactly what Mom had wanted to protect us from. Old wills, outdated power of attorney forms, and beneficiary designations still listing your husband's name create legal complications that become someone else's problem to solve when you're no longer able to fix them yourself. According to estate planning attorneys, these are the documents you need to update within 3 to 6 months of losing your spouse. Your will. Ensure it reflects your current wishes and names. New executors now that your husband is no longer available to serve in that role. Power of attorney. Both financial and healthcare directives need new designated decision makers. Beneficiary designations. Review all insurance policies, retirement accounts, investment accounts, and bank accounts. Many widows don't realize these designations override what's in your will. Property titles. Transfer solely into your name any jointly held real estate, vehicles, and other assets. Trust documents. Update any trusts where your husband was named as trustee or beneficiary. The stakes are incredibly high. If these documents remain outdated, the courts might decide who makes decisions for you if you become incapacitated. Your assets could go to unintended recipients. Your estate might face unnecessary taxes and probate costs. Perhaps most painfully, your family could end up in conflicts during already difficult times. Elizabeth, an estate planning attorney I often refer clients to, puts it plainly. The kindest gift you can give your family is clarity about your wishes and the legal authority to honor them. It's not about paperwork. It's about peace of mind for everyone you love. I suggest tackling these updates methodically, one document at a time, with professional guidance. The relief you'll feel knowing everything is in order is worth the temporary discomfort of addressing these matters during grief. Have you updated your legal documents after losing your spouse? Or do you have questions about where to start? Share your thoughts or questions below. I know this isn't easy to think about, but protecting yourself after losing your husband is one of the bravest acts of self-care you'll ever undertake. By avoiding these 5 costly mistakes, rushing to sell your home, trusting the wrong financial advisors, taking insurance payouts all at once, co-signing out of guilt, and neglecting to update your legal documents, You're honoring not just your own future, but the financial security your husband would have wanted for you. If you found this helpful, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with other women who might need this information. Remember, you don't have to navigate widowhood alone. With thoughtful planning and the right support, you can create a secure and fulfilling next chapter in your life. I'm rooting for you every step of the way.